one, realistic with your expectations of the hobby. And I think as long as you're doing it for the right reasons and you're curating it for yourself and nobody else, you will flourish more when you do it that way than if you feel like you're always chasing the pack, just trying to have what everybody else has.
Time, space, collecting. A multiverse of stories shaped by the choices we make. We are your guides across the Marvelverse, exploring everything from the MCU to cards and collectibles. Because every piece we collect tells a story. The question is, what does yours say about you?
Yo, yo, yo! What is up, everybody? Welcome into Across the Marvelverse, episode number 15. Today, I am joined by a very special guest, Anthony. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, man. Appreciate the invite.
Dude, I'm so happy you're here. Anthony, if you don't know, is Crescent Collector on Instagram, has a phenomenal collection. We're going to dive into the way that he collects, how he picked the character he collects, which is a really cool character that I don't know many other people that have dove as far into it as Anthony has. And we're also going to have a cool discussion about Kakawow. And that is a company that for some reason hasn't gotten as popular. I think a big part of it is probably that it's a Chinese company, but they have this amazing product that I'm really excited to dive into and get Anthony's opinion on, because you're one of the few people, Anthony, that I know has also gotten quite a bit of cards.
Went a little crazy.
Yeah. We kind of both were. So yeah, dude, I'm super excited that you're on the show. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be a good time. Listeners, if you're here, thank you so much for jumping in with us. If you're new to the show, we talk everything Marvel. So we talk about comics, cards, collectibles, the MCU. If it's Marvel, we're probably talking about it. We dive into the news, and then we focus a lot in our main segments about the collectible space, because that's how we interact with the IP when we're not watching the shows or reading the comics. And that's what I love. So that's what we like to talk about. Speaking of which, Anthony, how did you get into Marvel?
It was a long and winding road.
Yeah.
I'm a little older than most people in this space, but I mean, I grew up fascinated with the 60s Batman series and a lot of science fiction. I liked anything creative, whether it was movies, music, or whatever. Again, watching the Incredible Hulk and the first Spider-Man that came out on TV, where they were using actual string to do the web. It was pretty bad, but I always had that fascination with it. And oddly enough, I ended up in the Marvel space, and kind of how Moon Knight came into this whole thing. When I was growing up, I used to buy comics a lot, but I never bought a series every single month. I would buy comics on and off, but Batman was my guy. And I know it's sacrilegious because we're in a Marvel channel,
yeah,
but
we're going downhill.
But yeah, I would go down to my local Ben Franklin, and I remember going down one day and to grab a Batman comic. And one of my other big things, because I like monster movies and all that stuff, werewolves were always my favorite thing to be for Halloween.
Okay.
So on this comic rack, this Werewolf by Night comic, and this cool character on the cover with them. And I'm like, hey, let's give it a try. And that's kind of where Moon Knight kind of squeaked into my life, and just started reading about him. And it wasn't like a passionate thing. I didn't buy every issue or whatever, but as time went by and technology became what it became, and movies, when Tim Burton's Batman came out and superheroes started to get that representation that actually got you into that reality of the fantasy. It wasn't just, hokey or anything. It just kept stirring that pot. For the longest time, I never really collected cards or anything. It was all strictly comics. I did start collecting sports cards back in the 80s. I was a big Michael Jordan collector, obsessive Michael Jordan collector.
Okay.
Anything he was on, t-shirts, cologne, you name it.
Cologne.
Yeah.
Snap.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Okay, it was really bad then. It was
yeah.
You've also got the sickness. Okay, got it.
Yeah. So what had happened was, going into the mid 90s, going as hard as I did, I really started to get burned out on it. During that time, I still was into comics and fantasy stuff and whatever. 92 Marvel Masterpieces came out, and I started buying packs of that, kind of just trying to put the set together. Then 94 Flair came out, and I started putting that together. And while the burnout kept piling, I was like, that's it. And I quit Jordan cold turkey and kind of kept on the Marvel cards for a little bit, and then just kind of called it quits because it was just too much. I just kind of had to disconnect from everything.
Yeah.
34 years later, because that's how long, I mean, that's how much time, 34 or 24, I can't remember. But
24,
I got
24.
back into, yeah, 24. So I got back into Marvel around November of last year. Honestly, without getting too much into the weeds, with some health issues and whatever, I needed some mental distractions. And as I was cleaning up my Jordan stuff in my hobby room, I'm like, you know what? I think I'd like to get back into cards a little bit because I did enjoy, the research and the putting it together. And it was something that kept my mind occupied and moving forward.
Yeah, yeah.
So when I did, that's just kind of how I ended up back in Marvel. And then Moon Knight happened by a process of elimination in a financial situation. Um, but like we discussed earlier, it's like you kind of go in and you hit on the main characters, Spider-Man and Wolverine, and harkening back to my Michael Jordan days, I'm like, I can't do that anymore. I can't be chasing the impossible along with everybody else because it won't be fun for me. So that's kind of what got me back into it and where I started.
Wow. Now, so coming back into it in November, was there a specific Marvel release or anything that like caught? Because that was right around, I think, when EPAC dropped for MM22.
Yeah, I was completely unfamiliar with EPAC,
Okay.
what when that it even existed. And what actually started for me was I dug out my 92 masterpieces and my 94 Flair
Nice.
that had holes in it. So I started by going back to want to fill in
Okay.
the holes. So while I was filling in the holes and getting reacclimated with what was going on in the hobby, which has changed drastically at that point, I found out about EPAC and just kind of the lay of the land and started thinking about what did I want to do? Do I want to collect sets again? Do I want to collect characters? And I did want to collect sets, and I kind of swayed away from it because I'm not a big fan of the tiered system that they came out with a lot of the sets that I like. Hey, no angst against anybody or any company. That's the way they want to do it. But I always feel like it's incomplete when I get to the last nine cards and I can't afford the last nine cards, or I'm not willing to pay for the
Right.
last nine cards. So while I was filling in the holes for the two sets that I had, I started leaning more towards character collecting, more so because going from the Michael Jordan thing where I really got entrenched in it, I enjoyed that because you find out more about the character, the background, what's out there, where they start, so there's a whole, for me, it's a whole process. It's not just buying cards and sticking them in a binder. So by process of elimination and then going back through my comics and going, hey, Moon Knight, I liked them a lot. DC wasn't holding its weight. So following Batman wasn't quite the same oomph.
Right.
So
Right.
we settled in on finishing the set and seeing what Moon Knight cards were out there.
Love it, dude. I love it. I can't wait to dive more into this, especially with your experience and like collect. No, seriously, because I feel like there's a lot that everyone, myself included, can learn from you and how you collect. I'm really pumped to dive further into that. Before we do have some news to talk about today. So we are going to get started with this week's Marvel news.
The Watchers Report.
All right, so on this week's news, let me go ahead and share my screen for those of you who are watching on YouTube. By the way, if you are on YouTube, if you can drop a like or comment if you're enjoying the show, that really helps, and hit that subscribe button if you'd like to tune in for more episodes. If you're on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, if you can subscribe, and hey, if you do want to see some of the things that we are talking about, feel free to pop over to YouTube as well. It seems like most of the listeners, I think, are on YouTube. So hopefully you like it. And please let me know feedback if you have ideas for how we can improve the show. I am seriously all ears. So the first piece of news here, the Ultimate Endgame blind bags are up for pre-order. I actually literally just before this show hit up my local comic book shop, and the owner's son, I message him on Facebook whenever I need stuff, and I was like, hey, do you guys have the blind bags up? He's like, yep. So I just pre-ordered 5 blind bags. They are really cool. So this is how they are wrapping up the Ultimate series. We talked about that last week, and they have all these different covers that you can get. So I'm not expecting to hit anything crazy. As you can see, they have a ton of variants, but there's some cool artists on there. You could hit a Peach Momoko, which would probably be one of my favorites to hit, just out of the variant covers there. They have a black and white cover, obviously the normal cover, but then they have these sketch covers. So here they're showcasing the Mark Bagley Spider-Man with like half his mask on, half the mask off. just such a cool sketch signed right on the front of the comic. And there's other ones as well. So you can see, like, I'm a big Peach fan, so they've got a really cool.
Yeah, that peach is nice.
Yeah, dude, that Peach Psylocke is something else. And honestly, the Iron Man there, that one's
I like the pose.
nice.
The pose is cool.
The pose is really cool. It's really unique. It's by Pepe. I can't read the last name. It is, I don't know what the last name is there. It's like too small to see. Let me try and zoom in. Maybe I can't. Oh, there we go. Pepe Larraz. I'm not as familiar with his work, but I think I need to be because, man, that is a phenomenal Iron Man. So anyways, we'll see if I hit or not. This is my first time doing a Marvel blind bag for comics, but I like it seems like a fun idea. I hope they don't do it too much, but it does seem fun. I mean, they've got a Ron Lemon here, really cool stuff. And I actually started ahead of myself. I did mean to also say, for MCU news, Fantastic Four First Steps drops on Disney Plus November 5th. So if you did not get a chance to see that in theaters, or you just want it to watch it again, which I think I may do, November 5th, it will be here.
Much better than I thought it would be, to be honest with you.
I had a feeling it was going to be November. And I wish I should go pull the clip and see if I called my shot right. But my thought is that they would do Zombies in October, Fantastic Four in November, and then December was supposed to be Wonder Man. So I thought they were just going to close out the year with just one project per month. But obviously Wonder Man got pushed to January now. But I was kind of thinking it'd be November, and here it is, November 5th. So, but more comic news. These are some of the new comics that are either about to come out or came out already this past week. Cloak or Dagger, not Cloak and Dagger, Cloak or Dagger, #1, drops October 29th. There's some cool variant covers here, but I wanted to talk about this one because it's a #1, as you know, on the show. I always mention #1 so that way people know new series that are coming out. Hysterically, almost every single comic we are talking about today is an Age of Revelation tie-in. I mean, for like the past month, almost every comic I talk
You're gonna
about.
have a lot of reading to do, dude.
Dude, I just want to throw the whole series out at this point. Like, it's too much. Anyone doing this isn't absolutely insane. But if you're one of the insane people, or maybe you're just a Cloak and Dagger fan, I'd imagine this is a good comic for you to read. I guess it's Cloak or Dagger because this series is, I guess, after they have tied the knot, it says, and they cannot exist on the same plane of existence at the same time. So I don't.
That's gotta be rough on a marriage.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm like, okay. Seems like an interesting storyline there. I'm assuming maybe by the end of it, there'll be some way that they can. I don't know. But some great art. I think that might be an art germ up there. Some really cool ones. I like this one a lot. I don't know who the artist is. Actually, I want to find out. Let's see. Cover artist Corin Howell. I'm not familiar with their work, but I really like that take on them. Getting married there. Pretty cool stuff. The next comic is Expatriate X-Men #1. So another #1 dropping. This drops as well on October 29th. This is also an Age of Revelation tie-in. Big surprise. First appearance of a character called Lyrebird. That's Lyre Bird. Don't know anything about them, but I guess that's cool. There's also a new X-Men team that this comic will feature, and that X-Men team is Miss Marvel, Bronze, Melee, and Rift. I don't know if you've ever heard of those characters. I've only heard of Miss Marvel.
Same.
Ryan and I were talking about this the other week, how there's so many. It feels like there's a lot of new characters coming in and a lot of like junior, like the kid version of old characters. I think they're trying to rile up and get like a new age of Marvel started here. And I honestly don't know if they'll be able to do it or not. I hope they can. It would be great to see more beloved characters like some of the ones that we all have grown to love. So, but some neat covers there. Nothing that catches my eye too much. But I actually really like that Mystique. Let's see who that Mystique is by. Oh yeah, Lionel Francis Yu. Yeah, they're great. I'm a pretty big fan of their work. So that one's cool. It's got like a James Bond kind of vibe to it.
Yeah.
Cool stuff. All right, Marvel Rivals, King in Black #1. This whole King and Queen in Black theme, they seem to be really attached to. I'm assuming that means those comics are selling well because they keep coming back to it. I don't know much about this one, but of course we've got Jeff the Land Shark, Venomized. I swear he's on. I actually stopped.
He gets around, man.
He does, dude. He does. I stopped by one of actually a new local comic book shop to me. It's probably like 20-ish minutes from my house. I just never had stopped there before. A really cool place called Local Heroes. I'm going to talk about them more in our pickup segment. But it was just so funny because like my wife and I were looking through, and the new comics, just Jeff, man. We just saw Jeff all over the freaking store. I was like, wow. But that looks cool. I actually really want to read the Marvel Rivals series, or at least go start with like the first comic and work my way up a little bit, see if I like it. It
I've
does
gone
really
back and
interest
forth
me.
on wanting to do that.
I actually really want to jump back into Marvel Rivals. It's so hard to find the time. It's such a
Yeah.
time commitment. But my cousin's always bugging me about, he actually texted me yesterday I should play with him. So I didn't. So I'm sorry. Bad cousin. But next one, Undeadpool #1. This is a pretty big one. This is also an Age of Revelation tie-in. It has the first appearance of 4 new characters. That's Magni, don't know. Fantastica, Kid Man-Thing. Shout out to our buddy Matt, who's a big Man-Thing collector. I'm wondering if he will dive into Kid Man-Thing as well. And another character called Fearless. So you get 4 new characters. You got Deadpool and this kind of zombie variant here. There's some cool variant covers they've got for this planned. If you're a Deadpool fan, I'd imagine you're definitely picking this one up.
So digging those zombie covers lately.
Oh, they're all in on him, bro. They're all in. They are
They're
all
so
in.
good.
I know. I really like this one. This is by Ricky Yagawa. That's a really cool one. He got these little thought bubbles, heart and worm.
Wouldn't be Deadpool without it.
That's right. That's right. The next one, Venom, Black, White, and Blood, #3. I added this one because there are some first appearances. You get the first appearance of Samurai Symbiote and Crimson Carnage. I'm actually really excited to see the variants. Oh, dude.
Like
Yes.
that black and white.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Takashi Okazaki. I might have to get this cover. I don't know if a lot of people in the Marvel community know this, but I'm a big fan of like samurai and like the history and just everything samurai. I really like it. And so yeah, I might have to read this comic. I don't know the Venom storyline super well. It's not like I'm picking up every Venom comic, but that one I may need that. That's phenomenal. All right. X-Vengers #1. So another #1, and this is the last comic we'll talk about today. Do you want to guess, Anthony, what this ties into?
I would have no idea.
Surprisingly, Age of Revelation.
Yeah.
This is also the first appearance of Variable Man. So we get another new character. Got some really cool covers for this though.
That Vision's pretty cool.
Dude, yeah, the Vision. I mean, all of these, man.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of a lot of these covers here. Let's see who that Vision's by. That's CF Villa, and man, that is really nice. That is really nice. So that kind of makes me want to read it, to be honest with you.
That's the whole point, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess so. All right, that's it for comic news. I do want to just share that Marvel Rivals, talking about it earlier, they did introduce a new game mode, a zombies game mode. So like you were saying, really diving into this whole zombies thing. I heard it's really fun though. I was talking to my cousin about it. He's my go-to for Marvel Rivals, just news and how the game's going. Cause that dude, I think he's played every day since release. I don't know if he's ever missed a day. He loves that freaking game. And I do too. I just don't have that time.
I've wanted to play. I don't have the time, and I also don't have the reflexes anymore.
I hear you. I hear you on that. I am not nearly as good at video games as I used to be, but I heard this is pretty fun. It's kind of like I heard it's like a Dynasty Warriors type of vibe where it's kind of just slaying just tons of people at once. He said it's really fun. He actually really enjoys it. He said it was a nice kind of just a change up from what you're used to with Marvel Rivals. So I will definitely at some point jump in and play. I don't know when.
Try.
Yeah, at some point I will. I just got to find the time. I also did want to share just last piece of news here. Perna Studios, as you all know, I'm a big Perna Studios fan. This isn't specifically Marvel news, but I think this is probably the last I will share from their new set, Halloween 6. And they put out a post just the other day that you can add to your order the promo metal variants. So if you want any of the promo metal variants, as long as they are available, you can purchase them for $10 each. So that way you get the metal version of those cards. This is actually one of my favorite arts, this one, right? That witch on the left. I love that one. So yeah, I went ahead and ordered all 3. And yeah, I mean, how could you not? How could you
You're
not?
there, right?
That's right. And he did say you can also ask to have the regular printed promo. You can ask for those as well. So that's pretty fun. There is also one more artist that they highlighted. That is Jeffrey Jimenez with just some great art. These are all examples of sketch cards that you could pull if you do order these sets. I believe no matter what you order from Perna Studios, whether it is a full set or just a pack that they call it, no matter what, you get a sketch card. So this is the quality of the sketches that you can get. I really like the Frankenstein holding that little flower is funny. So yeah, if you have not already, I would highly encourage you to check out Perna Studios. The artists are phenomenal. Many of them you will recognize. Many of them are Marvel artists that you probably love. So yeah, I'm a big fan. I would encourage you to give them a chance. But anyways, that is all I got for news. So now it's time for the real fun stuff. We're going to talk about pickups.
The Collector's Hall.
All right. So Anthony, and I didn't even ask you, so I don't even know if you do or not, but do you have any pickups that you wanted to share?
I have two that I fell into, and this goes into how I collect. But I'm still a little warm and not completely warm and fuzzy on the whole tops thing, but
Okay.
I did
Okay.
like the
I feel
mints.
you.
So I did find the 25 variant
Ooh. Okay. Wow. Out of 25.
at a Anthony acceptable price.
Okay. All right.
And since that came along, and I'm always scrounging anyway, I figured, okay, well, we'll get his friend.
So it's funny. When those cards first released, I was like, oh my gosh, they look amazing. And then I realized the hype got to me. I was like, all right, let me cool down, give it some time. And I still think they look really good. And Moon Knight, especially with that background, it just goes
Well,
perfect.
yeah, exactly. With the Finch art on it, that's always a plus. So, and then I did actually pick up the third one because it was really inexpensive. So I've got the three of them. But I like the mint. Again, I'm not completely sold on the tops thing yet, but it's just started, so I'm more than willing to give it time. But the mint, I like. I mean, I like the look and feel of the cards. They have a nice texture to them.
Yeah.
And again, I like the artwork, so that was easy. But that was my latest. So.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I really want to pick up a Scarlet Witch from Mint. I have it saved. I just have not gotten the opportunity to buy one at a Jimmy acceptable price.
Yeah. There's always that one snag.
Yep, exactly. And I'm really trying my best to cool off for OAX. So it's hard though,
Right.
because dude, like the last couple months, these cards just started popping up. Like I was like, man. So it's hard. It's very hard to show restraint.
Yes, it is.
I will go ahead and show mine then, unless there's anything else you wanted to talk about.
No, that's about all I've gotten lately.
Cool. Well, I did get some stuff today. As I was saying earlier, I stopped by a new to me comic book shop called Local Heroes. They are in Norfolk, Virginia. If you are in that area, I would strongly recommend checking them out. The store is just beautifully laid out. A lot of comic book stores that I've been to, at least, a lot of them feel a little older, right? Like they have that kind of vintage vibe in there. Everything's a little cluttered, right? But you kind of like it, right? It's a
Doesn't
little
that kill it for you the minute you walk in the door, though? It's like,
sometimes you need that little bit of just musty smell to know it's a good comic book shop. But I will say, though, this one, it was very modern, very sleek. Everything was well organized, and it was like a really nice change of pace, I will say, from what I've been used to. So I picked up a few things from them. I picked up 3 comics. They actually had both the Strange Tales #1 covers I was missing. I read this comic just the other week, and I really liked it. I talked about it a little bit on the podcast a couple weeks ago, and I really, really was surprised with how much I like this book. So I picked up the base art, and I also picked up the other variant cover that I did not have yet. So I picked up both, and I really liked this. I liked both arts. This one was probably my favorite of all 3.
why.
Yeah. It's good, man. It's good. It's good. What can I say? And then I found another one. You're going to laugh at this one. I have not bought any other comics from this series or read any, but I picked up Jeff the Landshark 5.
Why not? Sometimes you just got to roll the dice, man.
I got the bug. Scarlet was on there. I showed my wife. She was like, "Oh, that's really cool." I said, "Yeah, you're right. I'll grab that one."
All right, honey, I'll get it for
That's
you.
right. That's right. And then they have what I didn't know on sale in October 2025. They have this awesome Disney What If variant, and I collect a lot of these.
That's pretty.
So now, not only did I buy this comic that I don't need just because there's dumb sharks on it, now I have to pick up another comic because I need that.
Marketing geniuses. That's what they are.
I know, they're targeting me. I feel very targeted. It's really bad. It's really bad. And then I got this though. This is pretty cool. So it is the Scarlet Witch Complete Collection. So this is one of those where it's kind of like a thick paperback, right?
Mhm.
And it goes through Scarlet Witch, the 2016 series, 1 through 15, which I've read, but it also ties in Doctor Strange, The Last Days of Magic, which I have never read, and I actually didn't know it tied in. So I'm really excited to go back through and read this again. And then if I think that those comics are worthy enough, I'm going to add them into my my Scarlet Witch reading guide that I made.
That's the one nice. I mean, if you're into comics, that's the one nice thing about those trades or like the omnibuses that come out.
Yes.
If you don't want to go out and grab everything, the nice thing, as you mentioned, is they will always include kind of the offshoot stories that you wouldn't find in the main title. So it's like it's all in one place. You can kind of work your way through it, and sometimes they're a little pricey, but if I guess if you do the math, it's not that
Yeah,
bad.
dude,
Yeah.
I took a picture and sent it to Fausto. They had the Silver Surfer omnibus.
Mhm.
That thing was thick,
Thick,
dude.
yeah.
It was thick. It was like the size of my freaking head,
Yeah.
and it was $150. So I was like, "Woo!"
Yeah.
That thing was like 35. I was like, "Okay, I'll grab that. That'll look cool on the shelf. I can read it." But I told Fausto, I was like, I was gonna get this for you, and I saw the price, and I put it back on the shelf.
I like you, but I don't like you that much.
So, but yeah, they had some cool stuff. I looked for a Moon Knight for you. I didn't see anything super cool. There was a Ghost Rider the statue that I sent to my friend William. And then after I left, he messaged me, how much is it? And I was like, oh no, I left. So I got to go back and find that out for him. But
Nice.
I do have some card pickups as well. So I picked up, shout out to my buddy Jordan. He told me about this one that hit the bay. It is a cyan printing plate from 2011 Marvel Kree Scroll. And just a neat random shot with Scarlet Witch on it. And I was like, wow, that is actually a really cool plate. I won the auction for $15, Anthony.
Yeah, see, that falls right into place with my logic. It's like you just can't pass it
15
up if
bucks.
you can get it at a deal.
I mean, a printing plate for $15. I will pretty much buy any printing plate with Scarlet Witch on it at $15. So
exactly.
and it's a pretty cool one. And I really like too, it has the little text bubbles on it. It just doesn't have the words from the printing plate. It's kind of interesting. Okay, this is fun. So similar to you, I haven't been a big fan of the top stuff, but I do kind of like the Tops Now thing. They don't hold much value, so it doesn't usually make sense to actually buy them. But it seems like the model they're going with for Marvel is whenever a new MCU project is going to drop, they do a pre-order for a Marvel Now set that it's 1 card packs.
Right.
And there's usually only 2 arts, I think. And maybe there's like a rarer card you can hit.
Right.
And anyways, I picked up the one for Marvel Zombies since both had Scarlet on it, and I didn't get anything fancy, but they do put in a nice little one touch. And yeah, the thing is super thick too. They're really thick. So that was like, wow, I was not expecting them to be that thick. And the funny thing is the back of it, I don't know if you can see, but it's got the little Tops holofoil logo on there. Kind of cool. But yeah, didn't hit anything crazy. This is just, I think, literally the worst one I think you could hit from value wise, but I think it's cool. So I'm fine with it.
You like it?
That's right. As long as I like it. That's right. I'll cry later. Here is a comic cut I picked up. I was very excited to get this one. So this is a comic cut auto from Jim Shooter. Rest in peace. He's a phenomenal writer. So really happy to pick up this piece here. This is Avengers. What is it? 172. And I don't know that I have any others from 172. I might have 1 or 2, but yeah, got this at a good price. Couldn't pass it up. This will look really cool in the binder. And I also picked up this from Avengers 91. And this is actually, that hand is Vision. So this is Scarlet Witch jumping over to Vision. And so that'll look really nice in the binder there. Both from Fleer Ultra.
Nice.
And last pickup. This is my biggest pickup of all the things I got. Shout out, I think I'm going to mess this up. I'm pretty sure his username on all the things is Jimmy Jump I think, which is funny
I think
since.
I recognize the name. I think you're right.
Okay, yeah, yeah. So I'm assuming maybe we share a name. I guess I could have looked at the shipping, but whatever. But anyways, so this is a fun story. I'm gonna share the story first, and I'll share the card after. So I had an issue with a card I got from Marvel Masterpieces 2022 that came in, and it was a Metallurgy Lizard, which I know Lizard, not a big character, but still, and it's an out of 25 Dan DeSantos, and there was like this huge line through it. It wasn't just a print line. This thing was like the ink was just straight up gone through the middle of it. So I sent an email. I was like, hey, if there's anything you can do. So I sent it back, and they sent me in replacement a red PMG from 2013 of
Oh,
Mystique. And I
nice.
was like, whoa, like that.
Yeah.
That's definitely because they said it'd be similar value. I'm like, that's definitely worth a lot more than a freaking
Yeah,
lizard.
exactly.
But our buddy Graydon, he loves Mystique and he loves PMGs. So I was like, dude, this is yours if you want it. So we worked out a deal. I gave it to him I didn't give it to him, but very good price. The homie hookup. And right after, Jimmy Jump posts a Scarlet Witch 2013 red PMG, which I only collect the reds. And this is one of the only PMGs I don't have. And he's like, hey, I just want to trade it for another red. I was like, are you like, I love Graydon so much. But man, are you kidding me? That timing. And I was like, oh, and I was like, hey, what are you looking for? And he told me, and I was trying to find people to trade for some of the cards he liked. I couldn't find them. And I said, hey, look, if you decide to just sell it, let me know. But I understand because there are people who out there who will only do a trade for trade, right? They
Right.
aren't interested in selling or buying. So I gave it. So like probably, I don't know, probably like 2 weeks went by, and then I see the card get posted for sale. And I jumped, man. I jumped so quickly. And the coolest part is I did pay a little more, but I really didn't have to put too much more into it than what I got out of the Mystique for
Right.
what he sold it to me for a very, very good price. So I really appreciate that. And here it is. It is now in my hands, the 2013 red PMG.
That's the one nice thing about some cards. I mean, like Scarlet Witch as a character has a definite colorway to her.
Yeah.
So when you can attach it to the card design, it's pretty sweet.
Yeah, yeah, I like it a lot. So this is number and interesting. So I didn't know this. I wasn't collecting Marvel in 2013, but this is numbered 8 out of 100, which I know the newer PMGs 1 through 10 is reserved for green, and then 11 through 100 is reserved for the red.
Oh, I didn't
But
know that.
yeah, so technically some of the newer red PMGs are really out of 90, not out of 100. They're actually a little bit rare. Not that that's that big of a difference. But this one was numbered 8. So I was like, oh, interesting. I did not know that there would be numbered 8 out of 100. So there you go. But yeah, very, very, very happy to have this. And I believe now my binder will finally have a full 9 page of reds.
So satisfying, isn't it?
I cannot wait to put this in the binder. I've been waiting for this podcast so I could show it. Now I get to put it. That's been killing me lately. I'm like, wow, when I like if I pull a card in the mail tomorrow that I need to put in the binder, I have to wait like a week before I can do it because of the podcast. It's going against me. And then he also added in a few extras. So shout out to him. That was very, very kind. A few extra cards in there, which I think the coolest one was this Scarlet Witch. It's the Red Rainbow from one of my favorite sets, Infinity Trilogy. So thank you for that, buddy. Okay, that's my pickups. That's everything I got this week. That being said, we're going to get into your story and a lot more about Moon Knight.
Today's focus.
All right, my friend. So I want to hear all about your collection, how you do it, and I really want to take it back to the start. You kind of shared with us already how you got started with collecting, but when you dove into Moon Knight, what did that look like, and how did you go about collecting him?
So when I decided to step into the pool, so to speak, I really reflected back on why I burned out the first time around and really kind of sat on what I liked, what I disliked. Some of it had to do with the hobby that's just not going to change. The hobby always seems to fall into the same pitfalls as each decade goes by. But I think like a lot of people, it's like you kind of go into it. And if you're anybody who kind of follows Marvel World, kind of to gravitate to the main characters, the Spider-Mans and the Wolverines and stuff like that. And being a Jordan collector and what some of the prices and scarcities and everybody chasing the same bone, I didn't want to go through that because, like I said, I was going into this as a distraction, but I wanted to enjoy it at the same time because I had fun in the early days of collecting with Jordan, and I didn't want that. I didn't want the same effect. I didn't want to hit that burnout stage with it. So I really thought about it. So like I said earlier, just going through comics and stuff, I came across my Moon Knight comics, and I always liked the character, the diversity, the whole. I like the whole Greek mythology thing that's woven into it, so it's not just a bruiser character type of thing. So there was a lot that I liked about it. Um, I like the mysterious thing with the the cowl and the hood and everything. So there's a lot that I gravitated towards. So when I usually start collecting, I have a tendency of wanting to go find the earliest cards first.
Okay.
The first cards that were available, and I usually do it in blocks. So I've looked at the first 10 years and kind of made a list of the cards that I wanted to get from the beginning. And obviously that never goes as planned. It's
Of
it's
course
always
not.
more of a chore than you think.
That's right.
But what I tend to do, and this was again, this has been my process all along, is figure out what I'm aiming to get, and then kind of look at all the cards and start picking out cards that I like, regardless of price or whatever it is, just cards that I visually like, and put them on a list as the back burner if you come across them type of thing, and just start filling holes. And as the holes got filled, I kind of moved forward a decade, for the next grouping of cards. And granted, that didn't mean I finished the first grouping, but it's like you kind of hit a wall sometimes where it's like you're just not finding cards.
Yep.
And just kind of moving forward in sections. One of the things that I did learn from collecting Jordan is to never discount any card. Cards that you look at, whether it be a price point or scarcity or whatever, and say, you know what, I'm never going to be able to get that card. I think it's still worth putting those cards on the list, because you never know when opportunity rolls around, whether you meet somebody or some crazy person puts it on eBay for next to nothing.
Yep.
So there's always a reason, and I think it's also nice to have. Probably calling it a carrot is the wrong thing, but having that little carrot to move you forward, I think, is also a big plus. But it's just, for me, it's just a very systematical thing. It's like as I get groupings, I start researching as to what cards were out there. Frick, I think I combed over ComC a dozen times to see every card that was available. And just anywhere I could find out what was printed of Moon Knight. And shockingly, there's a lot more out there than I thought there was. Being quote unquote a low key character, I know the series helped bump his popularity a little bit.
Sure.
Not a big fan of movie cards, even though I did grab some of the upper deck cards that came out for the series.
Okay.
But
How come? There you just drawn more to like just the art, kind of like
I
original
like
art?
the more
Okay.
comic centric cards for Marvel. I think it just keeps it in that realm of comic cards and comic art and all that. I like the series. I like anything I think that Marvel puts out. There's pluses and minuses to it. You kind of have to take it for what it is. I think you had mentioned in one of your pods, to someone, I can't remember, I apologize, what they thought of, certain series and stuff. And I think sometimes we're overly critical. I look at it from back in the day when I was watching Lou Ferrigno turn into the Hulk with a bad wig on and makeup, to what we see on screen today, and it's like, what are you guys complaining about?
Right. Right. Yeah. You're like, y'all are
Like,
spoiled. Shut
take,
up.
take it for what it is. I mean, it's entertainment to begin with, and again, technology has made it to where our superheroes are coming to life. So
Yeah.
it's a great thing. Collecting wise, it's again, for me, it's very much, I'm overly into spreadsheets and having a systematic look to my binders and things being in a chronological order by year. And it is a checklist, but it is kind of organic, because I don't rule out stepping outside of my list, because if you start doing that, then I think you're going to miss out on things. You kind of have to kind of stay open to, maybe I wasn't looking for this, but if the opportunity's there, you got to jump on it, because sometimes if you don't, actually not sometimes, almost every single time you don't jump on the opportunity, it's lost. You're just not going to see it again. So I think between doing a little bit of research and then getting some semblance of goals you're trying to hit, and then keeping a little bit of a wide vision to what's available, you can kind of fill in the holes. So for me, it's an organic systematic process, if that makes sense.
No, yeah, that makes perfect sense. That makes perfect sense. So, what all does your collection entail? Do you focus solely on the cards for Moon Knight, or does it branch out past that?
So for me, it's always been cards first. So it's cards first, and by cards I include TCGs into that realm
Okay.
as well. So it's cards first, then I do comics. Not a ton. I kind of narrowed down my comics just because of space and time. To comics, kind of turned into me as the temporary fix to jumping into original art, which is my goal for next year. And I think for a lot of people, I think they should take that into consideration if it's a financial thing or whatever, because getting some virgin covers of, Geist or Finch or whatever, they are 8 by 10 pieces of art, and they're
Yeah.
not going to cost you as much as, again, original art is worth every penny you pay for it because it's amazing. But if you're looking for something to kind of, ease that pain, so to speak, it's a great thing. And that's kind of what I relegated my comics to, is just kind of covers that I like, artists that I like, and that way I have a representation of it in the meantime.
I love that.
Um, After comics, then it's statues if I can find them, statues, pins, things like that. I don't go overboard with them. First off, because there's not a ton of them out
So
there
no
anyway.
no
But
cologne. We draw the line at
no
figures.
Moon Knight
Okay, okay.
cologne. I'm sure once it hits the market, I'll change my mind.
Right.
But for the time being, I'm putting it down that there's no Moon Knight cologne.
Okay, all right.
But yeah, we kind of brought in the birth of this collection a little bit. I also think if you start to spread out too far, you're never really accomplishing any one thing. That's why I kind of want to. I'll forego the statue to get the one card I'm missing.
Yeah.
Because while I know, and somebody had made this comment on Facebook on my account that it just seems like I'm always buying stuff, and it may seem that way, but it's not that way. It's really just it's an opportunistic thing for me. I really just kind of go with looking and talking to people in the community, and things pop up with certain people who are getting rid of cards or whatever. And by focusing on making the cards the main focus, then you're just kind of saying, okay, I know this is available, but I know I'm looking for this card, and I know it's going to cost me X, Y, Z. So I try and avoid getting caught in the I jumped on this and now the thing I really wanted popped up and now I'm screwed.
Yep.
So
Been there.
it's
Definitely
it's a
been there.
juggling act. I mean, it's really a juggling act. But I think if you I know we use the word all the time. If you focus in on what's the most important thing in your collection, and that could be whatever, it doesn't matter what it is. You tend to have that main focus that's more important to you will flourish into the collection that you're trying to accomplish. It's really going to become that cornerstone of your collecting adventure, so to speak.
Yeah, I love that. That makes a lot of sense. And I want to come back to really quickly. I know you said that figures and statues come kind of after, but I'm really curious because I don't know personally, like in my circle of people that I talk to, that many people that focus at all on statues or figures, and those that do tend to stay in like one lane. Like I know some people who really love Marvel Legends and they focus just on
Yeah,
Marvel Legends. It sounds like you have a little broader
and
scope.
well, actually, I'll clarify.
Okay.
When I say figures, it's more statues. I don't get any action figures or anything like that.
Okay.
It is actually. I think this actually just came in the mail today. So
Ooh, okay. Oh, that's sweet.
yeah,
That's awesome. Now, okay,
yeah.
so because I don't even know where to go. Like, I'll go to my comic book shop or a collectible store, and I'll see some different figures, statues, whatever.
Mhm.
I just don't know much about them. So, like that right there, how did you even find out about that?
Well, I've always liked statues again because my thing has always been about creativity. So anything that's art based or whatever, I'm gravitated
Yeah,
towards it.
yeah.
Um, I'm not saying that action figures are bad or anything like that, but it's a completely different realm, and it's just another can of worms I just don't need to open right now. Um, but
Focus, right? Focus is the
yeah,
word.
focus, and I think the statues just they're easier to display, and I'm very big on having my stuff out where I can see it and enjoy it. And it really is just poking around to see, on eBay, just typing in statues and seeing what statues are available, what's been out there, going to the different vendors to see what's been discontinued, not been discontinued. Oddly enough, this one that I just got and it just showed up today was on Amazon. I wasn't even really looking for it,
Wow.
and I typed
Okay.
in Moon Knight for I don't even remember what it was for, and it popped up as being discounted from 100 down to like I don't know what it was, like 90 some odd dollars, and then there was a 25% off coupon attached to it. So I got it
Nice.
for $70. I'm like, done. I'm not
Yeah,
even think about
easy.
it.
Say
So,
less.
but yeah, I like the statues because they're nicer to display. I think it's a good visual representation of what you're doing. Cards are great. I do like looking at my cards, and I like looking at them on my site and stuff just to see them. There's an old car guy adage that I think applies to a lot of us in card collecting that says, you bought the right car if when you park you always look back at it. And I think in collecting, if you're always looking at your collection, you're probably doing it for the right reasons.
I like that. I like that. Is there a specific company that you've gotten statues from that you have started to prefer, or is just kind of whatever you see that you like?
For me, it's always been kind of if I like it. I
Okay.
mean, I don't really. I think a lot of there's some companies that are doing statues that are just freaking phenomenal, but just way more than I'm willing to
Oh, I
spend for them.
know. I saw a
I mean,
Scarlet
they
Witch
are
one. It
just
was nuts.
amazing, and I've seen them in some of the people in our community. Some of the statues they have that are just they're just jaw dropping. But I'm just not there, so I
Yeah.
fill my
Yeah.
void with the ones that I can get. And they're fine. I mean, they look great. I think they do great work on it. It represents the character well, and again, it's just another visual thing. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Now back to the cards.
Mhm.
when you're building this checklist, I know you said you
Mhm.
start like the older ones and moved up. What all does your checklist entail? Are you going for one of literally every officially licensed Moon Knight card that's ever released, or what's the method to your madness there?
I am the Pokemon gotta have them all with an asterisk.
With an asterisk. Okay, all right. So let's talk about that asterisk. How
So
does
the
that
asterisk
asterisk
is
get
very
formed?
important. The asterisk
Yes,
is very
yes.
important. So for me, whether I like the company, like the set or whatever, I will get a base card no matter what.
Okay,
I'm getting the base card regardless of what it is or anything. After that, if there's variants to it, I will try and pick up one or two of the variants just for representation of the set.
okay,
And then after that, I will start digging for checklists to see what's in the set. What and that will entail also numbered variants. For numbered variants, I usually try and get at least one that's either 100 or lower.
okay.
That doesn't mean I don't pick up 115s or 120s because those will kind of trickle in based on price and availability. And then I kind of sort of this is where the asterisk comes in, draw the line at the of 25s.
All right.
Because usually that's where I find is my breaking point financially, and that is not to discount that if a one of one pops up for 20 bucks, I'm not jumping all over it. It's a one of one. But I think it's also important to kind of know where your barrier is, going into it so that again, you're not kind of scatter shooting all over the place. And then inevitably I think you start getting disappointed that you're not getting the cars that you think you want. So that's kind of my thing. And then it's really just going over the checklist and seeing what's available. And then I try really hard to see if I can see what they look like, just to get an idea because at the end of the day, I do want to like the card. There are some cards that I don't like that I've gotten for numerous reasons, just to have in the collection. But I mean, we could use Kakawow as an example. The poster card of Moon Knight that came out. I think I like the double diamond better than the poster card, even though the ratios and whatever I think were pretty much the same.
Sure.
So it's like, I'll go through and say, okay, when the Kakawow list came out, it's like, okay, I know I want these base cards. I'm going to try and get these numbered cards and maybe try and get these inserts and just to have a starting point,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
it's just fluid, as they come along, or, you're kind of jumping on whatever, and I'll try and do that for everything. And I have a spreadsheet for cards that I deem, one touch worthy, and then the binder cards. There is no real monetary thing. Usually the binder cards are $20 and under, but there are some that are a little bit over just to fit into my binder layout better. And then everything else that ends up in a one touch doesn't necessarily mean it's expensive. It could be a card that's like an acetate that scratches easy, or one of the
Okay.
metal cards or some just to keep it better protected.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of logic to it, but not a ton. And then I'll admit that even with my binder, I'll pick up some cards that sometimes just fit the filler spot that I need at that point. I have a gap in a binder
Yeah.
because I hate splitting things over
Uh huh.
pages or breaking up the set,
I've been
or
there. Yeah.
yeah. And it's like, okay, well, you know what? I can get this kind of nice filler card for 50 cents
Yep.
and it finishes the page well for me. So, I know I'm preaching to the choir to a lot of people that were like overly analytical on how things lay out, but it's
No,
your thing,
that's
do it the way you like it, right?
exactly. No, dude, this is great stuff. And I think people that are over analytical like to hear how your brain works with this because it might work a little different than theirs and how you think about it. And that just starts opening the floodgates for more ideas so we can all
It's been said a million times. There is no right or wrong way to
yeah.
any of this stuff. You just got to find your groove, and then you'll be fine.
Yep. Exactly. Exactly. That's the whole thing. It's I think it's so important that we learn from each other and hear how other people do it, not so we can learn the right way, like you said, or
Right.
the wrong way, but it's to give us ideas of what our way wants to
Mhm.
be, right? Like what is my way and do I need to change it, right? Like pretty much after every episode, there's something that the person I'm chatting with says and I'm like, "Oh, duh. I should have always done this."
Yeah, and it's interesting because I was talking to somebody again. I adore the community. I'll be the first to admit it. Especially like I said, I'm coming off of some health issues that the community has really helped with being able to discuss this hobby with people, being connected to people. You, Fausto, Matt, people I've met along the way. I don't know really well, but it's been a great grounding thing. And somebody had reached out with just a question, I guess, because seeing the cards that I was posting, and they had asked, it's like, well, what do you do with those hard to find cards? Like they wanted PMGs but couldn't
Okay.
afford them.
Okay.
And I actually grabbed this on purpose because this could be part of the discussion. And I know this rubs some people the wrong way, but
Okay.
this card, okay, is out of 25, and I grabbed it for 20 bucks on eBay.
And what and
The
go what is
PMG
that?
looks exactly like it, except for the color. So I guess the discussion I had with this person was, I know PMGs are cool, I know comic cuts are cool, I know sketches are cool, but really kind of look at it from your perspective and what your pocketbook can afford, because you can find that alley to fill that gap. It's still an out of 25 card. And I mean, if you want to argue, you can say this is actually rarer than a PMG. By the numbers, it's rarer than a
What card is
PMG.
that?
It is from Metal. It's the orange out
The
of
orange?
25.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So I guess my point being is like, yeah, I think PMGs are cool. I like all
Sure.
that stuff is cool.
Sure.
I'd like to have them all. But if you're in that, and that we're all in different financial standpoints, with what we can and can't do. Some of us have kids, families, whatever. My kids are older. But even if I have the disposable income, I try and have this imaginary line of I'm just not willing to pay this much for a card. And this is kind of where I've kind of started to make my game plan for next year as to what I want to do with original art, because I think that's my next step. But I think you kind of have to set up your own little ground rules, and you can find holes to make that work. Because somebody can argue, okay, yeah, but it's not as enticing as a PMG. Yeah, but it's still an out of 25 card that looks exactly like your PMG. The only
Yeah.
thing that's different is the
Yeah.
card and the fact that it says precious metal gems on
Right.
it.
Right.
And again, take it for what take it for what it's worth. I know I've had this discussion with some other people. Yeah, but it's a PM. Great, fantastic. But I know that I have an out of 25 that looks just like their PMG
Yep.
that I got for $20. So
I love it, dude. I mean, there's so much, and like you said, if you like for me, right? Like I love this PMG. Like this is great. I want it. I wanted to have it. Needed to have it. But like, there's certain cards. For example, this one right here. Like this red rainbow scarlet, in my opinion, looks better than almost every single one of the serial numbered scarlets from this set.
exactly.
I would rather have this, and I don't know if I'll catch hate for this. I would rather have this than the one of one from that set.
Yeah, and I think that's a valid discussion. I think that's a valid argument you have to have with yourself is, what are you really in it for? Are you chasing the pack? Just jumping on the bandwagon with everybody else? Or are you actually trying to curate a collection that you have an attachment to?
Yeah.
Stuff that you like. And again, that doesn't discount that I've got PMGs. I mean, I rainbowed
Yeah.
with the
Yeah,
PMG.
exactly.
The only unit that's missing is the one of one. But even that in itself is part of the discussion. It's like, where do you draw that line? I don't need the one of one to say I rainbowed whatever.
Yeah.
It's a one of one. Only one person can
Right,
own it.
right, right, right.
So,
For all we
you know,
know,
th-
it'll never pop up. Like,
yeah, exactly. Or it's still sitting in a pack somewhere.
yeah. Or it got thrown in the trash in in a sealed box
Right,
somewhere on
right.
accident, Some store closed and they just chucked inventory.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, you just have to be one realistic with your expectations of the hobby. And I think as long as you're
Yeah.
doing it for the right reasons and you're curating it for yourself and nobody else, we all like showing off our cards. I love showing off my cards. I like seeing other people's collections more than anything else, because 9 times out of 10, I'm seeing something that I didn't see before. But I think you need to be true to yourself as far as how you're collecting and why you're collecting. You will flourish more when you do it that way than if you feel like you're always chasing the pack, just trying to have what everybody else has.
Yes. Very well said. And speaking of that curation aspect, I'm kind of curious to hear how you go about, because you mentioned that you'll start with getting the base and then you'll pick up a couple parallels, right, to represent that set. How do you go about choosing which parallel it is that you pick?
So when there's variants, and I will say right now, I hate the amount of variants that they come out with. It's just ridiculous. It's just too many cards of the same thing, because again, you're just talking about colorways.
Hmm.
But then when you start adding the numbered variant, that's a whole nother thing. So I usually tend to kind of look at what colors I like. I'll try and keep it in the realm of the variants that are not super expensive, because for me it's more of a visual representation. So I'll just pick the colors I like. Sometimes I've done it with a few of the cards, to do a whole page of that particular card and the variants, like do the rainbow and a couple of different colors. Like with the animation series, they have the thatched background and then the rainbow background. So it's for me, it's just a really simple and inexpensive way to represent that particular slice of card. Without going overboard. Yeah, you can rainbow every single thing that comes out, but you're going to be poor really, really fast.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's really just a personal thing, just kind of the card that I like.
Okay.
Going to God, I can't remember the Infinity set that you were talking about
Yeah. Yeah.
earlier.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
I have the base and I have the rainbow, and I was fine with those two. And then I think one of the of 49s came out, the red ruby one, and it was on eBay for next to nothing.
Yep.
And I grabbed it. I mean, so it's a little organic. There's a little bit of thought process to it. A lot of mine tends to lean on how the binder looks as you flip through the pages. Like I said, I mean, I have gotten to the point where it's like I have a gap, and I either break the break the look of it, or I plug in something that maybe I wouldn't want to get, but fits the page. So it'll be an extra variant just to fill that gap to move the cards over. So
I really like that focus on aesthetic because I really relate to that a lot. For me, I'm the same way, and it took me a while for me to even wrap my head around just how Marvel cards work and like these different parallels. And it's the same with sports or whatever. A lot of these
right,
collectible cards, just coming into this world kind of late to the game, it took me a while to really figure out like, okay, I get that it's out of 10, but why do you think that looks better than like
right,
this card, other than money? I mean, I like
right.
money too, but you know,
It could be like you said, it could be a one of one, but there's probably a card I like better.
yeah, yeah,
There were a lot of Jordan cards where it's like the ones that were really super expensive, I did not care for. I thought there were better base cards
right,
than some of the really
right.
expensive cards. So that's what I'm saying. I think you need to, if you stay true to what you're looking for, it all kind of pans out. And then I think the binder thing for me, because I also collect vinyl. Been in the music since I was 5 years old, and I don't stream. I play my music on my record player, and I
That's
think that's
awesome.
part of it too. It's like when I sit down and again, I'm going to show my age a lot during this conversation, but it's like I'll sit down and I will listen to the album from beginning to end, side to side, because the artist put it together that way for a reason.
I do the same thing.
And I think binders are the same way as far as I look at it. When
Yeah.
you look at it, it's a chronological history of what you're collecting, and then I think there should be some rhyme or reason to it. I mean,
No,
it'd be
I
just as
agree.
easy to buy a card, throw it in a box, buy a card, throw it in a box, but what are you really accomplishing at that point?
Right. No, I'm with you. No, I don't even think that's showing your age. I think that's a really good point. And it's funny because I really do the same thing with music. I really like to hear from start to finish, and especially when artists do different types of concept albums where the
Yep.
whole thing, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. So no, I totally get it, and I do the same thing with my Marvel binders as well. How it looks is so
Yeah.
important to me. And one thing you said a while ago in our conversation too was you were talking about the next step in moving to art, and I'm just curious. And if you aren't comfortable answering, you totally don't have to either. In saying it's the next step, are you going to downsize certain parts of your collection to then fund the art? Or is this just the next step, as in like you've accomplished your goals, you're keeping this, and then you're going to move, or a little of both?
So I'm not gonna shrink what I have.
Okay.
I can tell you that because what I've gotten to the point where I wanted to get over the past year with the cards. I'm like up to date, so to
Yeah.
speak. There are still cards I'm looking for. I still have a want list. I've got maybe 20 or so cards on it. I've got some stuff on there, the Rittenhouse Legends, 9 card set that they put out that is just next to impossible to find, but
It's
I'm
just
not
not there.
taking it
Yeah.
off the list. I mean, it'll happen eventually. But my card purchases have slowed down because my wants have become so particular.
Yep.
And granted, even the random thing that pops up just doesn't pop up that often at this point.
Yeah.
I kind of have all the cards I really, really want. I've filled in the binder the way I really, really want it. I started a new binder that's 25 going forward, which is basically the Tops Kakawow stuff going forward. We'll see what comes out, with Tops and whoever else decides to get into the game. I don't think as collectors you ever really hit that point where you're done. It's just you
You're ready
shift your
for the
focus
next
a little
phase.
bit.
Hmm.
For me, because I'm so art centric with all my stuff, I know that's my next logical step just because I've seen a lot of it. I've always been a fan of comic book artists. I grew up with Michael Turner was one of my favorite artists, with Aspen Comics and all the stuff that he did when he was doing stuff for DC and Marvel. I mean, I liked his art style, and Silvestri continued it. And now, with Finch and Geist and all these guys, and the list is endless. I know I want some stuff. The reason I need to kind of think it through is because I know how I am and I like to see my stuff. So I know I can't just go buy a bunch of stuff. So I need to pick and choose kind of what I want to do. So I've been toying with, do I want to do, maybe comic panels so I can put them in a binder because they're easier to store? Do I want to just fixate on maybe one or two bigger pieces to put on a wall and call it quits? So it's just, again, it goes back to that focus thing. How do I want to funnel my money into how I want to do this? And then once I know I get that accomplished, then I'm sure something else is going to pop up.
No, I like how much thought you put into it though, and how much planning you do. See, I wish I did a little more of that from the start. I just kind of dove in when I started collecting Marvel and was just like, I want everything, and just started getting
I
random
think that's
things.
all of us though, dude.
Yeah, yeah. But looking back on it, I should have planned a little more up front. I think it would have made smarter purchases, but I'm getting there, you know. And I was just curious because I know there's a lot of people too, and I will be the first to admit I've done this as well. Like with my Dragon Ball collection, I've talked about this briefly before, but I downsized that
Yeah.
collection to start my Marvel and art collection. That's my I never thought as a collector I could get to a point where I would have original art. Like it was just so
Right.
out of reach, right? I didn't think I could ever actually get to that point. Even there's some cards that I never thought I would get because for a while I just played and I'm like, well, I
Yeah.
just play with the cards. I get it. This dude has this crazy, $2,000 card. I'm never going to have that card.
Right.
And, but it's funny as you participate in the hobby and you start amassing this collection of things you enjoy, as you've been saying too, as you're patient and you're focused and you know what you want, there are opportunities that arise that you can jump
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
And, recently I did sell a couple things that I really wasn't keen to sell, but there is a sketch card that popped up. And I'm like, look, I love this card. I love this artist. I don't have any sketch cards from this artist. And I have this Dragon Ball card sitting on my shelf that I can buy any single day of the week. I could buy it tomorrow. I could buy it the next
Yeah.
week, the week
And
after.
that's the thing. You have to leverage out what you have because if the opportunity arises and you can get rid of a couple of cards to get that really big want and know that maybe not tomorrow, but in a week, a year, you can recoup those cards back into your collection. Like I said, you have to be a little bit fluid with what you're doing. I mean, my thing is anything I purchase for my collection, my intention is never to sell it.
Same.
Anything I bring in is never coming out, but that's not to say that the deck doesn't get shuffled every once in a while.
Yeah, I love that. The one liners, Anthony, you're on it tonight. You're on it.
I'm telling you, that's my age showing.
No, man, this is great stuff. So moving the conversation now, you've referenced a little bit about how you are storing things and displaying. I understand you do the binders and there's the one touches, and I understand some of the differences there. It sounds like the binders are set up in a chronological order that looks aesthetically pleasing to you. Is that pretty much where you're at?
Yeah. At first, I tried to do it by year, by set, and
Yeah.
that gets really, really hard because numbers don't jive.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So I decided, okay, we're going to do by year. That way I can shuffle around the sets a little bit so that if I only have two cards of this set and then three cards of that set, I can make it work a little bit better. So it's chronological by year, and then they're kind of intermixed within that time frame.
Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. And then do you have cards that you put out on display that are always there to be seen?
Soon.
Soon. Okay. All right.
So I'm actually in the process of I have a hobby room because I build models too to keep my
Of
brain and
course.
hands
We all
sharp.
do.
So
You have
that's my
to.
hobby room.
It's a
And
requirement.
I'm remodeling, and I actually just picked up 2 display cases so I can get my
Nice.
one-touch cards up on the wall. And
What
then I
type of displays?
just the mirror, the window door type display,
Okay.
with the hinges and stuff. And then I have an indent on one of the walls that I'm gonna make a couple of deep shelves on and then regular shelves, and then I'd like to get a bunch of stands to put the odds and ends out so they're on display and then tuck away my comic boxes underneath and everything. So
That's
it's a
awesome.
work in progress.
Yeah. Do you have any ideas on how you'll select what cards to put out there?
I have gone through that list like probably 10 times deciding what's wall worthy. I don't know yet. I'm gonna see do when I mean, I know for sure I'm gonna put up my rainbow. I know for sure I'm gonna put up my early graded cards because I'm not a big fan of graded cards, but I did go back and pick up the early Moon Knight cards, at least at a 9, just because I think there's a lot to be said for some of those older cards that people aren't paying attention to, probably
Yeah.
should pay a little bit more attention to.
Right.
And then after that, just kind of the ones that appeal to me, I think is going to be my way to go about it. The ones that really are strikingly either visually or I feel something for.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, that's awesome. That's awesome. Now, and I meant to ask this earlier actually. We've talked a lot about your cards and the different sets and the base cards and parallels, things like that. Do you also dive into comic cuts and sketches or any other sort of like specialized insert printing plates, things like that?
So when I got back into it, comic cuts and all that stuff was really exciting. And then I found out how much of a pain they could be too. trying trying to track them down and all that
Oh
fun
yeah.
stuff. And I have picked up a couple sketches. I will be the first to admit that I'm overly picky with
Nothing wrong with that.
sketches and um, probably even more so with the comic cuts. I'll give a little example. I actually got my first comic cut. It hasn't even shown up yet Finally got my first comic cut.
Nice.
But
Okay.
I was looking at a comic cut on eBay a while back, and it was really expensive.
Was this the one that we've talked about before?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
All
I
right.
think we had
Yep.
this discussion,
Okay.
and it's still sitting there. But the rub wasn't necessarily the price, is that the comic that it's from, and then it's from Infinity Wars. It's a really nice cut of Moon Knight, but it's from a filler page. It has nothing to do with the story, and it being autographed by the writer, I think just makes it even worse because it's not part of the story.
Right.
So,
It's
yeah,
almost insulting.
visually it's a nice comic cut because it's a really nice clip of Moon Knight and it's got an autograph on it and everything, but it just doesn't there's nothing it doesn't have that
Yeah.
pop
Doesn't do
for
anything
me,
for you.
for some
Yeah.
reason. Then on the flip side, I mean, I someone had posted on one of the Facebook groups a really nice cut from the Marvel Spotlight, which is his first appearance, and I
Wow.
just missed it. And I was like, so
Oh,
it
I'm so sorry.
I do like them, so I'm cool on sketches. I will still pick up sketches as I find them as that I like them. And yeah, there's I think Ryan had mentioned it in one of your pods that he's more apt to go commission something to be done on a card than to purchase one. And I'm kind of leaning that way a little
Yeah.
bit. But if I find a sketch that I really like and it's a reasonable price, I'll pick it up. I finally did get my one comic cut, and that was kind of my thing with sketches, cuts, and plates and stuff. I wanted to at least get one.
Okay.
So we've got sketches covered. I got my first comic cut. Now I'm still looking for a plate. But again, I think I'm so picky with what the plate is. And I know I can go on eBay tonight and find a plate from the TV series for 30, $40 and say I
Sure.
have a plate.
Sure. Right.
But the cheapest plate I can find that I like right now is like $500 on eBay. So
Yeah.
that's gonna have to wait.
Yep. Yep.
So yeah, I am very much I'd like to have a representation of every type of thing that comes out, but I'm gonna lean on my patience to wait for that to come through.
That's cool. I think a big word for this whole show tonight that we keep coming back to is focus, and I really like how you're putting that on display and showing how you're going about
Patience
chasing these
go a long
cards.
way. I
Yeah.
know it's a hard thing to swallow
Yeah.
sometimes
Very hard.
because
Very hard.
especially when you start missing things by just that much, or
Hmm.
you bid on something and then you see it, it ends up getting sold for $1 more than what you bid. And that can get really
Painful.
aggravating.
Uh-huh.
But again, I think you need to just kind of stay focused. I think if you have a list of things that you'd like to try and find, it helps alleviate that a little bit. I think you need to go outside the norm, not just eBay or ComC. Mercari is a good place to go shop. I missed a card on there that just pisses me off to no end, but they had a hollow, which is really hard to find. The Marvel Beginnings hollow.
Oh wow.
The cheapest I've ever seen it anywhere was like 250, 300. It was on there for $100 and it sold. I'm like,
Oh.
okay, deep breath. But yeah, I think you need to kind of again, I think that's where the research comes in. Give yourself a bucket to work out of, a little funnel of things to work out of so you can take the losses a little bit easier because something else will pop up and fill that void for you.
It's so big not to tilt, man, when you
Yeah.
when you miss out on something, or like you said, I mean, it is infuriating to miss out on an auction by $1, and but tilting and getting super mad about it and hyper fixating on it, or
Yeah. Yeah.
you know,
You
you're
have to
gonna
find
make
that happy
irrational.
place. Yeah, you
Exactly.
got to find that happy place, and I think it's been mentioned on a bunch of your pods. You just got to understand that you can't have everything.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. Cool. Well, I want to talk a little bit more about just some of your favorite things in your collection. So, what are some of your favorite cards, pieces, or whatever you want to talk about?
My favorite is actually I rainbowed the metal card that's actually taken from the cover of Werewolf by Night, just because I have a real connection to that cover.
Oh, that's so
So I
cool. Yeah, we're
Yeah,
coming
so I
full
rainbowed
circle here.
those like the first, and I'll tell you, I'll be honest with you. It's like going into that, I said like when I first got back into it, it's like I am never rainbowing anything. That's dumb.
Never say never.
Yeah, that's the dumbest thing. Why would you want 9 cards that are just different colors of the same thing? It's
Right.
just stupid.
My wife agrees.
Well, well, and here we are.
You're
So,
right.
but that's my one of my favorites. I like that. I like the old Rittenhouse card that's taken from the same cover. I found that graded. I've got it. I've got the base card. I've got the I think it's called ink reflective card of it. For me, it's more design and the concept of the card. I mean, again, I don't mean to turn this into knocking tops, over and over again, but it's like chrome is like it's a constant. Chrome is
Yeah.
chrome is chrome is chrome is chrome, and I just need something a little bit different. I need, even if it may not be popular, and I'm sure we're going to get this, but I think this is the little wedge that Kakawow is kind of falling into, but a unique card design, something a little bit different, original art for crying out loud. It's like
Yep.
you tend to start to see the same image just in a different format. That's going to take away from the hobby, not just from me, just
Yeah.
in general, because you will get to that saturation point of saying, Jesus Christ, I've got 100 cards that are all different, but with the same exact image on it.
Yeah.
And that it just kind of dilutes it for me. And I'm sure it dilutes it for a lot of people. It's like,
Yeah.
why am I spending money on the same card again with just a slightly different look to it?
All right. So, Anthony, you also shared with me tonight that you put together this incredible website of your collection. Do you mind if we
Not at
talk
all.
about that?
Be my guest.
Okay. So, I'm going to go back to our screen share here. You could just walk me through. This is so cool. I think this is so cool. Now, I want to do it. Just talk a little bit about this and guide me. What should I go to show our listeners how awesome this
That is up
website
to
is?
you. I mean, it's broken down into 3 sections basically, and it's just the collection, and then broken down within the collection, and then I put a little bit about Moon Knight if somebody doesn't know about Moon Knight, kind of the synopsis of the story of Moon Knight, and then just a little contact page. And I mean, I did the site more for me than anything else. I like looking at my collection. It's a quick way for me to check on stuff if I'm out and about on my phone. But I go back to the car analogy thing. It's like I like what I've curated. I like looking at my collection. I like, I'll look at it and see, oh, maybe this would go good here, or maybe I should get this card because it would go well with this card. So it's just a good visual representation of how I've curated my stuff. And I think everybody should have a little bit of pride in what they've done. You know what I mean? So
This is so cool, man. Like I just clicked on One Touch, right? And we've got all these different amazing cards. It starts off with this 1986 Marvel Universe sticker.
yep.
That is so cool. Man, like this is such a genius idea. Now, I see that some of them are in slabs and then some of them are not. Is there any rhyme or reason as to the ones that you put into an
Uh,
actual graded
the
slab?
the slab ones are just because they're slab. The other ones I'll usually take the scan or whatever before I put it in a one touch.
Okay,
And then put it on there that way. So
gotcha.
yeah, the slabs are just because they're slabs. And at first I had cropped the slab part out of it, but I'm like, you know what? It's slabbed. I'm not breaking those. I have broken some slabs before, but the ones that I don't break, I'll just do as a slab. And then everything else is part of my process. When it first comes in, I'll take a scan of it, or if it's something that's got a lot of light refracting to it, I'll do it with my phone because I can kind of get a good representation of it, because the scan sometimes looks very flat, and it's just to share it, and it is really more for me. I enjoy when I hear people go to it and say, hey, I didn't even know this card exists, or it looks really cool, or whatever. I mean, I think in the community we all like to hear from each other, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. I think that's part of the plus to it, is to open that dialogue. And then an underlying factor is I also have a section on there for the cards I'm looking for, on the off chance that somebody can point me in a direction or has it or whatever, and it's just another part of it.
Man, this is so cool. I love looking at this collection this way. This is scary. Oh, I want this card so bad. The
I
woodblock
this
auto.
goes into that category of cards that I first saw when I got back in and said, "Shit, it's out of 10. I'm never gonna find this card."
Hmm.
And it came along on eBay, and I am surprised at what I got it for.
Man, they're from Marvel Anime Volume 2, and they are just so freaking good. I love that set. I really enjoy it. And when I saw those wood blocks,
Peach's art is like, it's minimal, but it's very impactful.
it's
You know what I
perfect.
mean? I
Yeah.
mean, it's just so
Everything
cool.
is every line is so intentional.
Yeah, yeah, it's just so cool.
Yeah. That is high on my list of cards I want. Don't expect to own. I saw one Scarlet Witch once for sale, and I was just not at a point where I could afford to
Yeah.
snag it, unfortunately. But wow, man, okay. So this is a bunch of examples of your one touches, and then we go to the binders. Okay, now how are these set up? So I see you've got
Yeah.
binder A.
So contrary to popular belief, because someone says, "Oh, you scan your pages." No, I don't scan my pages. I actually, because this is how insane I am.
Okay.
I actually set up a template in Photoshop. That's a grid. That's a 9-page grid, and I will drop each scan into the grid, and then export the page as a page.
Wow. That is really, really cool. That is really cool. So it goes by binders. Now, how many binders do you have?
2, and if you scroll down, you get to I have a breaking point where I'll say binder 2, and then that's moving
Oh,
forward.
hey, look at this little rainbow we got going. Oh, look at
Yeah,
you.
and that's actually a perfect example of the it
Yeah.
was inexpensive to put together, and that set it was a really cool set before I even got back into it, but I liked the images and everything, and again, it became one of those, God, I can't find one card to breach, the page, and I can't I'm like, "Screw it, you know what? I like this, I like Bill's, other image because again, it's from, Moon Knight number 2, so I'm like, "Screw it, I'm just gonna fill the page." I did the same exact variants for both pages. Yeah, and it again, it's just a flow thing for me.
That's really cool. Yeah, Marvel Platinum was a fun set
Yep.
to Rainbow for sure. And I love. Okay, so this genuinely is on my list of cards that I need. I actually one day it's just I don't know, the base is actually like super affordable now. When the set
Yeah,
first dropped, it was going for
yeah.
stupid prices. But
I
yeah, this art right here, that creator art, I freaking love it,
Yeah,
man.
it's really good. Bill did a really nice job on that one. I actually just got the autograph version.
Did you really?
Yeah, it's on the
The one touch.
the one touch page. Yeah,
Oh, that's so
from
cool.
somebody in the community who was getting rid of it, and we worked out a deal. And I was like, yes, please.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't dude, that is a phenomenal card. Okay, so here we go. Then we got binder B is 2025 to present. And what do we have here? Look at
Look at all
that.
that Kakawow. And
Wow.
that's I mean, that's a good example of the whole tops thing. It's like, okay, I know I wanted the base. You could get the refractor and the yellow lava really inexpensively. The promo came out really inexpensively. And I actually even got a couple more because again, they were priced well and they were different enough, with the backgrounds and whatnot. So it's like, okay. And again, with my fill the page properly to get things work out, it's a little bit of both. I really, really got to like it. I don't want to overpay for it. And I think it still needs to be a good visual representation of everything that's going on.
That is really cool, man. That is really cool. Well, that may be the perfect segue here into Kakawow. Let's talk a little bit about that, man. What drew you into Kakawow?
It was I went into it kinda gun shy because the first time well, most of us you had to go buy it from China. You had to go, you had to pay $10 for shipping and, it's like that kinda rubs you the wrong way for a single card, and I bit the bullet on one that I really, really liked, and that was from the Aura set, and it was this card. I think it's this one. It's this card. It was the green out of 25.
Okay.
I got it for $20
Wow. And it's
on
a
an
beautiful
auction,
card.
which just blows my mind.
Yeah,
So the thing with the Kakawa cards was I was still kind of up in the air with it until I actually got the card in hand. In hand, these cards look amazing.
they do.
There is not a photo, a scan that does these any kind of justice.
Yeah.
There really isn't. They've got some depth to the color. The rainbow effect is really really cool, and that's what sucked me in. And then the thing that kind of kept me going back was that they were affordable.
Yeah.
The quality is
Really
really really
affordable.
good. Yeah, the quality is really really good. Granted, my con to them is the same con that I would have with most companies, is that they only use 2 images or 1 image across the whole thing, but that seems to be everybody. So you can only, bruise them for that for
Sure.
so much. The quality is there. They look really, really nice in hand and they're affordable. And I'll be honest with you, what I ended up doing was I found one vendor on eBay and tried to grab multiple auctions from the same vendor to
Me
split the
too. I did
shipping.
the same thing. Yep.
And it's
Yep.
worked out 9 times out of 10,
Yep.
and if you talk to them, they completely understand. It's like, if I win the one auction, I will usually message them and say, "Hey, I've got bids on this and this. Would you mind hanging on to it just in case I win those so you can ship them all together?"
Yep.
So now your $10 shipping for one card turned into something more realistic.
I did
So
the
again,
same
where
thing.
there's a will, there's a way.
That is a great tip. Because yeah, that $10 shipping cost, man, that it
It
adds up.
hurts. Yeah, it
It
hurts.
adds up. If you are not familiar with Kakawow, which a lot of people are not, we referenced this earlier. It is a Chinese company. They do have officially licensed cards though, so this is official Marvel cards, like the Marvel IP. These are official. So if you are someone who is not just focused on domestic from whatever area you live in, I was just looking at the off topic, but I was just looking at the stats for the podcast, and there's like I think I've hit like 15 different countries now that people are listening in. So I
Nice.
was like,
Nice.
oh, okay, bonjour. Uh,
Gonna have to learn another language.
That's right. That's right. So, but anyways, just to give a little background, this is my whole 15 minutes of research I did today. So if any of this is wrong, I'm sorry, but it looks like this was actually founded in 2009, but they didn't, they didn't really dive into a lot of IP and thing that I could find that is familiar with people in America or anywhere around our area, at least. They didn't really start doing anything with IP about that until 2022. So it's only been like the last few years, I think, that they've really come into the market. And what happened is in 2023, they did the first Marvel set, which was Disney 100 Marvel. And I'm just going to list off some sets because it is kind of hard to find out this information. But the sets they had, they did 2 in 2023 that have Marvel cards. And it's that one that I just said. It's Kakawow Phantom, Disney 100 Marvel. And then there's also Kakawow Cosmos, Disney 100 All-Star. Now, there aren't many Marvel cards in that set, but there are some. And I believe they're more MCU. Any of the Disney ones that say Disney in the name usually are going to be more from MCU. Yeah. In 2024, they also did 2 sets. So we got the Kakawow Ticket Jumbo cards. I don't know if you've seen those. That was newer to me. Yeah, so they did these. They're like long cards. They're like literally like a ticket. And there's just random IPs on it, but there's a couple that are Marvel. I think there's a Captain Marvel, there's a Loki, and a few others. So kind of an interesting one to check out. Very small amount of Marvel, but it's there.
Right.
And then the other one that was big in 2024 was Kakawow Marvel Heroes Joy. And I believe that set was very Spider-Man focused. So if you're a Spider-Man fan, that would definitely be a set to check out. And then this year, 2025, we got 2 sets that I'm aware of, at least. We got Marvel Aura, which that's a really nice set. I believe some of the ones that we were looking at from your collection, those were from Aura. And then there's also Kakawow Phantom Marvel Rivals, which we also saw some of those in your binder. Marvel Rivals was my first exposure to Kakawow. I had heard of them with Aura. I didn't quite pull the trigger because I didn't know really what it was. And I didn't know anything about it. And then when Rivals dropped, I said, okay, I got to try this out. And I'm in the same boat as you, Anthony. I've really been enjoying it. The card quality is great. And in this world of tops where we saw some crazy prices, everything's selling out, lots of reselling, that nothing necessarily wrong with that type of stuff. But I know for some collectors, that does kind of kill the vibe a little bit. Kakawow is really refreshing. To dive into. It's great cards, great prices, great art. Yeah, I mean, I'm having a really good time collecting it. And for me, I really go after anything that's officially licensed by Marvel with Scarlet Witch on it. So this also checks the box.
I think that was the rub. I think a lot of people thought it wasn't licensed.
That was me.
And I know that rubs a lot of people the wrong way, me included, but it is. And I hate saying it's a great option if you can't do XYZ because that's not really the case. They are quality cards. They are very nice looking cards. In my opinion, if they did a few things a little differently, they can give the US market a run for its money. I really believe that. Granted, you kind of have to sit there and think, okay, right now it's affordable, but once everybody catches on, what's going to happen?
Right.
And
the potential's there.
Yeah. But for the here and now, again, if you again the bottom line is if you like the aesthetic of the card and you want an of 25 or even of 10. I mean, I got an of 10 for $50,
Yeah,
which is
I believe it.
which is ridiculous.
Oh my gosh. Let me put you full screen for that one. That is such a cool dude. The MVPs for Marvel Rivals, like this is just one example of the cool things they do with these cards. They're beautiful.
And it's Mr. Knight, which doesn't get a lot of representation on cards. So I was tickled pink when this popped up.
Oh man, that is really cool. Really cool.
Yeah, that goes back to the whole, the metal of 25. Don't pigeonhole yourself, I guess is the best way to put it. Don't, get yourself in a rut of it's got to be this or nothing. Because there's lots of stuff out there that, to be had. And have a little flexibility in your collecting and you're going to enjoy it a lot more. I can guarantee you that.
100%, because I really was feeling down about Topps, to be honest. I'm taking the license, and companies like Kakawow, Finding Unicorn, that definitely lit that spark again. Where I have cool stuff I can still chase. That's new and exciting, and I can chase it right when it drops, because that's always a big thing for me. Like I like the drop, I like that hype. I think it's fun to participate in a set release as it's releasing. I think that's fun to do. So just walking through some pros of Kakawow that we talked about. It's from my end, and I want to hear if you have any other opinions on this, but from what I wrote down is that it's high quality, which you've kind of touched on.
Yep.
One thing that I don't think we've touched on yet is I think these are really fun to rip, which is funny because I haven't actually gotten a pack, but I participated in breaks
Right.
and they were really fun to participate in. And I can't say that for every other Marvel set. But what I've noticed is the checklist character wise are a little more reasonable. And I don't know if it'll stay this way forever, but
Right.
like Marvel Rivals, for example, was less than 40 characters in the set.
Right. I think it was 37, 38, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to participate in a break, not that you have, I will never tell you you have good odds going into a break because that would
Don't
defeat
get
the
me going.
purpose. Yeah. But if you like to gamble every now and then, right, and just have some fun and just roll the dice, see if you hit something, like that makes it at least a little more enticing. When you look
Sure.
at a set like Marvel Platinum, where there's 100 different characters,
Right.
I mean, dude, your odds are just so freaking slim that you would ever hit a big card of your. I mean, you can. People have done it.
Mhm.
Someone's going to do it, right? Usually in a break, but
Right.
you're one of 100. That means you got a 1% chance to hit.
Yeah. I can't comment on that for one simple reason because I don't break packs and I don't open boxes. And that's a good thing and a bad thing because it's a good thing because I'm not getting sucked into the odds, but it's a bad thing because I'm having to pay for everything. I have no trade fodder whatsoever.
If you're responsible with both, I really feel like most of the time it works out the same anyways.
Probably.
With the misses that you get, the hits you get. I just think it's fun every now and then. I do it very seldom though. I don't participate often. I'm really not a big fan of even like the environment of breaking, just kind of, and there are some great breakers out there. I'm friends with some great breakers, but there's a lot that just kind of feel yucky and I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know. So just the whole environment, it's not always for me, but every now and then there's a set I'm like, you know what? Okay, I'll play. I'll
Yeah.
play this time.
It's not the first thing I gravitate to, but I've been in a couple, and I think the few that I do jump in every once in a while are more with people that I like how they do it. Alonzo would be probably a good example.
Sure. Yeah, he's great.
And I don't know him personally or anything. I just know him from
Yeah, me either.
on and off conversations. But you can tell that he's doing it from a collector standpoint. It's not just to make money, so to
Sure.
speak.
Yeah. And there has to be a money aspect to it,
Oh yeah,
right?
of
Because like
course. I
there's
mean, he's
the
investing a
time,
lot.
sure,
Yeah,
you're investing money, you're investing time, you're offering a service. But I agree. He definitely cares about the customers and the
right.
collectors and the people there. And he's one of the breakers that will go above and beyond to make sure that people have a good time, right? And they get their, hopefully can at least get some of their money's worth
Yeah.
even if they miss.
Yeah, and again, to your point, there is no right or wrong way to go about this. I mean, you can break to your heart's content. I've just never had luck with any
Yeah, right, right.
with
Oh, it's gambling.
even going back to the Jordan days where I used to buy boxes on top of. I can tell you without any qualm that in all those years of Jordan collecting, I never got a hit of a Jordan that I wanted
Yeah,
ever.
yeah,
Every Jordan card I had to go buy,
yeah.
so the odds were always against me.
Yep, yep, exactly, exactly. Yeah. No, so, and honestly, and if you're a character collector listening to this, it almost never makes sense to buy a box just to rip. I mean, unless again, it has to be because you just like to rip and you like the
Yeah.
thrill and you like to see what you're going to get to gamble. But keep in mind that's a completely separate zone that you're in from character collecting.
I'll add a caveat to that. Um, I would be tempted to buy a box if it's a set that I know I want to put the set together for.
Bingo. Exactly. Right.
Then I would say, you know what? I know I'm going to put together the set. Let me see how much of it I can get together. If I get lucky, I'll get one of my inserts, one of
Yep.
my hits. If not, that's fine because I wanted to do
Bingo.
the set anyway, and anything that I have left over, I can trade for what I'm missing or whatever the case may be. So again, a
Yes.
little bit of rhyme and reason to it.
100%. I think if you are set collecting, mixing both singles
Yeah.
and sealed, I think that's a huge win, and honestly, probably will end up saving you money
Oh yeah.
depending on how you're collecting. And the last pro I put for Kakawow was just a wide variety of parallels. I think this could probably go as a con for some people too. Uh, but
It's interesting because when I looked at the checklist, and I don't know if it's a bad thing or a good thing. Like with Rivals, they had like the blues, the purples, but the odds were the same on all of them.
right, right.
So for me, it ended up being okay. You know what? I'm going to pick the color I like the best
That's what I
and
did
not
too.
worry about the rest.
Yep.
So in that respect, it's a good thing because you don't have to worry about them being different tiers.
Right. That's what I thought was kind of
Yeah.
cool. And I think that's what I was getting at when I was saying variety too. It's like they're doing it just slightly different, right? Like even like the out of fives, there's, I
Right.
think 6 or 7 out of fives, all like you said, just a different color. So
Yeah.
really the out of fives are out of 35 or
Right.
something like that.
Exactly.
But if you want that one color, sure,
Right.
it's out of five. But I did the same thing. I wanted one representation of out of five, and I got my out of five, and I got it at a price that I would never get an out of five
Yeah.
Scarlet Witch from any
Yeah.
other company.
Exactly.
So I think that's pretty fun. Is there anything else that you wanted to comment on as far as what you like about Kakawow?
Again, I think, and again, I hate using it's a good alternative because that makes it sound like you're settling for something,
Yeah,
but it is.
it's a good way to pivot.
It's a really nice set, and even if you decide you want the set, it's inexpensive. Even if you bought the set outright,
Yeah,
I think I bought the Rival set for like $25.
yeah,
I mean, granted, it's a small set, but even the Aura set you can get for under 50, and it's a nice set. If you're into any kind of anime art or whatever, it's right up your alley because that's usually, especially for Aura, they use that kind of style for it. I know for Rivals, they used obviously the rival characters, but it's a great product. I mean, it really is. Again, if you look at it strictly from a bang for your buck, if you're looking at numbered cards, it's hard to knock.
yeah, yeah. I 100% agree. Just to go over some cons of getting into Kakawow, I think one that we hit on that you can turn into a pro though is the shipping, right?
Right.
If you are just picking up, like for me, I'm now to the point from Rivals where there's just a few cards left that I need. So now when one pops up, it's only worth like $4 or $5, but I have to pay double the value
Yeah,
of the
it's
card
shipping, right?
in
Right.
shipping. And I'm like, oh, this is just killing me,
Yeah.
you know? And so that can be tough. And then some of the sellers that you have to work with in regards to that, like there's one seller who keeps posting the same card. There's three sellers I think that I've seen probably post more than anyone else
Mhm.
about Kakawow, and some of them do tend to stay higher on the price of that card, and they just constantly repost it, which we deal
Yeah.
with really
Yeah.
in any of the cards. So that's not, I guess, exclusive to Kakawow, but it's a little extra frustrating when you're also having to pay $10 for the shipping. Because I'm like, dude, this is a $5 card. You keep posting it for 15. I will pay the $10. I just don't want to
Yeah.
also pay double the value of the card and then pay another double in shipping. It just gets to be too much.
Well,
So
I think that stuff as much as, I mean, yeah, I have no grudge with people making as much money as they can on a card, regardless of who you are.
sure.
But sometimes it's our own damn fault, so
Yeah.
to speak.
Yeah.
Because if people stopped buying them at those high prices with the high shipping, maybe they'd bring down the price.
Well, that's the funny thing is this card, he's had it. He's had multiple of them posting constantly since like Rivals dropped.
Hmm.
And he just reposts. No one buys it. No one's even buying at the price. And I even messaged him. I said, "Hey, dude, I missed it. I was so mad I missed it. Well, wasn't that mad. I'll get it
Yeah.
eventually. It sold for $4, and I said, "Hey, man, it sold for 4. I'm offering you 6. Just
Yeah.
throw me a bone." Nope, 15. All right. And I guess I'm being petty because it's not much money, but I'm just waiting.
And
Being
I have a
patient.
tendency when I find cards like that, because like there's the one poster card that I'd still like to get from Rivals, but I'm not paying $40 plus $10 shipping for it.
Yeah.
So I've got it bookmarked, and
Mhm.
same thing. He just keeps reposting it. Maybe eventually
Yeah,
he'll
I
get a,
know.
he'll get the clue and bring it down a little bit.
Right.
But until then, he can sit there. That's fine.
Yep. Another con I put is just if you are someone who wants to have those high value cards, right? Right now, there aren't many Kakawa cards that are hitting those high value marks like you're seeing in tops or even upper deck. It's definitely on the bottom echelon as far as value goes. Now, will it go up? Will it go? I don't know. You can speculate however you would like based on your own research, but as of right now, the value really isn't there for what we're used to, at least in Marvel cards. And that coupled with these can be kind of hard to find sometimes. Like once you get through that first wave, I don't know if you've noticed this, Anthony, because Marvel Rivals is the first that I've dove into it. It was like a couple weeks, boom, I just have a Marvel Rivals thing going, Marvel Rivals Scarlet Witch, right? And for a while, there was just flooded with eBay results. That lasted
And
for a
it dies
couple
out.
weeks. I mean, like way faster than what I'm used to from any of the other companies. I mean, it's just like gone. I was like, wow.
Yeah, I'm kind of torn on the whys, but I know their print runs aren't huge. I think Aura, and I think Aura was 40,000 cases or 40,000 boxes. I can't remember
Okay.
what I saw.
Okay.
So yeah, I can see, and I'm sure people on the other side of the world are buying them as well. It's not just us. But yeah, I agree with you. It's like when they first came out, you saw them everywhere. And that's why I think I had a tendency when Rivals came out to try and grab cards within reason as quick as possible
Yeah.
because I saw what happened with Aura. Because you can find some, but like you said, you cannot find the harder to find ones. Once you get under 100,
Yeah.
they're few and far between. So
I'm telling you,
maybe
man,
that's a good thing. Maybe that's a bad thing. I don't know.
even some of the ones over 100, they're just like not they're just not
Yeah.
popping up like they were. And I was like, man, maybe I should have chased a little harder up front,
Yeah.
but I'm sure
It's hard to
eventually
say.
we'll.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll get there. And the last kind I put is it's just not as popular, right, as the other companies. So if that's
Mainstream.
important to you, I mean, it sounds silly to say, or like someone be like, oh, you poser, you're only going for what's popular. But hey, that means something to some people, right? Like
To each his own.
if you post a Kakawow card on Instagram, it's not going to probably get as many likes as your Marvel Masterpieces card, and if that matters to you and is a big deal, you should know that before you're investing in it. They just aren't super popular, at least not yet. Maybe they will be. Maybe the company dies tomorrow. I don't know, but don't have a crystal ball. Can't tell the future.
I think that's actually what I enjoyed most about posting any of the Kakawow cards, because a lot of the people are like, "Oh, where is that
Yeah,
from?
what is this? Right.
Yeah, what is this?" And I think that's part of how you can help the hobby, you know?
There you go.
So,
I like that. I like that. Are there any other things that you can think of that are a con to you or might be a con to someone else who's interested?
yeah, not pretty much everything you went over. I think the biggest rub for most people that are gonna wanna do it is gonna be that shipping problem, but, offset it. If you can get the card cheap enough and, just take the shipping for what it is, that's fine, but I definitely wouldn't overpay for anything.
Yeah. But hey, overall, Kakawao, man,
Yeah,
I'm
enjoyed
on
it
record.
thoroughly.
Yeah, I've said this multiple times. I'm loving it. Like I'm really enjoying Kakawao. I would encourage you, if you are a character collector, right? Just search up your character for
Go
Kakawow.
look.
Just pick
Yeah,
up a card. Pick up a cheap one, right?
yeah.
Or maybe pick up two and split the shipping.
There
And
you go. Exactly.
it's see if you like them. If you like them, you might want to dive into it.
I actually would reiterate that if you're curious, I would definitely get a card in hand because there's a big difference.
Yeah, it is. It is. Once I got my first one in hand, I was like, okay, I'm in.
Yep, exactly.
I'm in. So cool, man. Well, that was a fun conversation. I think there's a lot of people who haven't yet really explored Kakawell, even though it's been out now for a couple years. I
Yep.
think there's an opportunity to, with Tops now having the license, a lot of people not able to participate in Tops to the capacity that they did in Upper Deck, and I think this may fill the void for a lot of collectors out there. So this was fun to talk about. All right, sir. I do want to go through some rapid fire questions, as I do
Oh,
with all my
joy.
guests. So you're just gonna say the first thing that pops
Can't
up.
wait.
Hey, they're literally rapid fire for me too, because this is 2 weeks in a row I forgot to write them down. Well, I think last week I wrote them down and then it got erased or something. Either way, I wasn't prepared. I'm not prepared again today, so we'll see how this goes. Here we go. If your house is burning down and you can pick one piece from your collection to grab as you run out the door, what are you grabbing?
I am grabbing my Rittenhouse from my Werewolf by Night graded 9.5. It's
Nice.
just a sentimental thing, it's just that particular image is kind of the nexus of this whole thing. It's where it all started. So I think I always
Yeah,
have that connection to that card.
I love it. I love it. The worst Marvel set ever made.
Lord. I don't know because I haven't gotten a lot of Marvel sets. Usually
Your
it's like
least favorite that you know.
the least favorite that I know. God, I couldn't even. This is probably gonna piss off a lot. I'm not a big fan of the annual sets. I know some of the cards individually are nice,
I like it. I
but
like it. Let's piss everybody
I've never
off.
been bowled over by the annual set.
No, that's great. That's great. I love asking that question. What the goal of that question is just to make as many people mad as possible. So
I can deal with it.
no, I don't think too many people will get mad at that one. Okay, would you prefer raw or slapped?
Wrong.
Raw. Okay. And let's see. If you had to pick, oh, this is a good one I just thought of. If you had to pick one year that you could only collect from, what is that year?
1 year, huh?
Yeah,
I'm gonna say 94
94.
because the 94 Flare is the set that got me juiced up again for this stuff.
Nice. Nice. I like it. Now, I know you said you're picky with sketch cards, but if you could pick one sketch card artist to commission Moon Knight, who would you pick?
That's a loaded question, dude. Uh, you know what? I think I'd like to get something from Peach Momoko, honestly.
Nice.
I
Nice.
think she has a very unique style, and that's not to discount anybody else's work. We have an abundance of phenomenal artists in the hobby right
We do.
now. I can't take that away from anybody. But I think she was one of the ones where it's like you looked at it and said, "Wow, that's different."
Yeah.
Like you said, every line seems to have some weight to it. It's just very unique, and I find it very striking for something that's that simplistic.
Yeah. Me too. Me too. That's awesome. If you had to collect one character other than Moon Knight right now, who would you pick?
You have to be Marvel.
It doesn't have to be. Go ahead. Hurt my feelings.
If it was Marvel, honestly, it'd probably be a toss up between man. And I was just having this conversation with myself because I was thinking about grabbing another character, but I don't want to. Probably like Mystique or Nightcrawler
Oh,
from Marvel.
interesting. I thought you were going to say Werewolf by Night. So,
As much as I like the comics, the character itself for that run didn't. I think the Moon Knight thing is really what connected it to me, even though
yeah,
I like
yeah.
werewolves and all that. It was a weird transition thing.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Hey, nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with it. You you got to talk to Graydon. Graydon loves Mystique. That's
Does he?
oh yeah. Yeah, he likes Mystique a lot. Yep. Okay, you made it through rapid fire. Congratulations. You can breathe. And we are going to get now into some questions from our listeners.
Oh, that's going to be even worse.
Lumpkin's letters.
No. They were much more kind to you here. First question comes from Justin, Spidey Hits. He said, what is your favorite phase of the moon? Full. Okay. Very cool. Any reason behind why you like the full moon? Or you just like the best?
Yes, actually, there is a very good reason. I'm very much into photography and stuff, and that is one of my favorite things to shoot when it's a harvest moon and stuff. It's striking.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, very cool. All right. Marvelously sketched, our friend Matt. He said, which one of the different personalities of Mark Spector is your favorite and why?
I think Moon Knight is actually my favorite because, and again, I know it's sacrilegious to say it, and people have argued this comparison. It's a very Batman-esque, character on the Marvel side, but he has much more complexity to him.
Okay.
I like the split personality conflicts. I like the way the Egyptian mythology is wrapped into it. It's a character that I think if they didn't do it right could be very one-dimensional, but it's not.
Cool. Hey, speaking of which, I was gonna ask you though, what character were you gonna say for who you would collect other than Moon Knight if it was
Batman?
Okay, that's what I figured. Okay. All right. Our buddy William, Spirit of the Cards. I will always refer to him as Ryder, though. He said, "Who is your favorite Moon Knight host and why?"
Favorite Moon Knight host? I don't know if I understand the question.
I don't know. That was the question. Who's your favorite Moon Knight host? Maybe he meant like Khonshu, like a Khonshu host.
I don't know. I don't know if I've ever thought of it that way. William, I will send you a message once I figure it out.
To be determined, William.
Thanks for stumping me.
There we go. Hey, someone had to do it. Someone had to do it. You've been on a roll this whole podcast, All right. Last question comes from our friend Jordan, JU Cards 2221. I don't know why I always say that like that when I say his username. What is your favorite Moon Knight costume?
I like the classic hood mask look. I wasn't a fan of the ultimate Moon Knight without the hood.
Okay.
I still like a gritty, good old Moon Knight kick your ass character.
Yeah. I love it. Very nice. And I have a question for you too. I noticed on your shelf, I see it. Well, it looks like is that a Mickey Mouse behind you?
It is a Mickey Mouse.
Okay. What is that? Tell me about it.
So way back when, and again, I'm going to date myself here, when the Disney stores first opened and whatnot, I was very big into Disney cell art when they first started coming out.
We need to have an off-camera conversation then, but please continue.
And as a kid, actually, the statue the figure right next to it is a Pinocchio. Pinocchio was one of my favorites growing up. My grandfather used to tell me the story when I was little. It's an emotional thing for me. So I have some Pinocchio figures and stuff like that. The Mickey was actually a gift from somebody, just because I like movies and the cell art and everything. And he's actually standing on a movie reel with his little megaphone.
Oh, that's so cool. Okay. Very cool. And is that a Lego too? Is that the Disney 100 Lego back there? Yeah.
That is the 100 the 100th anniversary camera kit.
Yeah. I thought it was. Okay.
Yeah. So well, we're a little bit all over the place with stuff, but
man, that is so fun.
I think it was crap. Who was your last guest? I'm sorry, I can't remember.
Matt.
I think Matt had mentioned this, and they're stuck in my head. The collector's got to collect.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Right.
Doesn't matter what ever since I was a little kid, I had to collect something, and I think that it's just that personality.
Yep.
And yeah, you can look around here and you can see why.
A while ago, I should ask this question again, but I think I had asked it was just like a yes or no. Did you collect rocks or seashells as a kid? Because I, for a long time, just had a box of rocks and seashells. that I collected.
I will do you one better.
Okay.
The very first thing I started collecting when I was a kid was TV guides, and again, dating myself. For those who don't know what TV guides are, back when there were only 5 channels on your TV, there was a weekly publication that had all the TV listings. And the reason I started collecting them, it goes full circle. It was about the art because on the covers of all those TV guides, it wasn't just images of whoever was on what show. There were actual artists that would do paintings, drawings, sketches, whatever. And that was the first thing I started collecting.
Wow. Wow. That's so funny. But you're right, man. We're always, it's just, I don't know, something about us. We're all idiots.
Yeah, well, as I tell my wife and she agrees with wholeheartedly, there are worse things I could be doing.
That is very true. That is very true. Well, dude, Anthony, this was an absolute blast, man. Thank
I
you so
appreciate it. It was
much.
fun.
Yeah, dude, this was awesome. I know I got a lot out of this conversation. I hope, and I'm sure our listeners did too.
Appreciate it. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything else that you wanted to chat about before we close this thing out?
No, not really. I mean, I would say to collectors in general, just do it for the right reasons and have fun doing it, and it'll all kind of pan out. You know, don't. It's at the end of the day, they're all pieces of cardboard. They are what they are. Just stay even keeled. Enjoy the community. Get to know people. I strive every day to make another acquaintance. Get to talk to somebody a little bit more. The community is worth more to you than a lot of things, both just for card wise, but even for just discussions. Like I said, I am dealing with health issues, and that community aspect has helped a lot. So, you know, take the things around you for what they are and just enjoy it. It's supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be a stressful thing.
Couldn't have said it better myself, man. Couldn't have said it better myself. Well, dude, thank you again. This was a blast. Listeners, if you have made it all the way to the end of this episode, it would mean, again, the world. If you're on YouTube, subscribe, hit the thumbs up button, and drop a comment. Let us know what you thought about the episode, what you think about.
Comment, people.
Yeah.
Start discussions. Come on, say something.
Let's go. That's what it's all about. If you are one of the few on audio, that it's funny. I thought everyone would be on audio, but everyone wants to listen on YouTube. But if you are someone who listens on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, if you can please follow, leave us a rating and review. That really would help me out and help the show grow. And hey, next week, I'll announce this now. I'm super, super excited. For the first time on the podcast, we are bringing in an official artist to have on the show with me. So Duke Comic Art will be on the show with me. And I think he may be drawing live while we do the show too. So we're going to see if we can work that out. But yeah, looking forward to that. Anthony, thank you again. It's been a pleasure. And I really hope that I can get you on the show again.
Appreciate it.
All right. See y'all next time.
Thanks.